And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to round number 4 tonight here at MEA, the Bugatti circuit. I'm SSR Mayhem, and we are reaching over the halfway point of the season with tonight and 2 more races to follow in the MEA GT Championship Series. Your points leader, RZM Sean, 14 points over ESV Barcode. Barcode, the pole sitter here tonight, and I believe Sean is about 4 or 5 spots back, so great advantage to start this race for Barcode, but Sean, a little work to do tonight with weather conditions in the mix nonetheless. We're going to see some rain, we're going to see some cloudy conditions as well, so a little bit of forecast here tonight, but a lot of fun racing. 21 drivers so far here with us. Not sure if there's any missing participants, but a lot of exciting stuff coming your guys' way here tonight in the MEA GT Championship Series. Stay tuned as we get the lineup ready for you guys on screen. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of tonight's event, so stay tuned, get your friends involved, grab something to drink, and for the drivers, mental preparations to be started, as a lot of action in this short, tough, dense, tight circuit. A lot of C7Rs, a lot of Bentleys, but we do see some other things out there, an M8, some Vipers, and I believe there's a Ford GT as well. So action coming your way. Stay tuned. So we're just a few minutes away from the start of the 4th round of the series. Let's talk about tonight's starting lineups. I know I just pulled them away for you guys, but it's ESV Barcode on the front row alongside competitor Vanquish FRC. Vanquish, 2 races on the season where he wasn't able to complete, whether it was from the fuel situation, which actually was round 2. He was able to complete round 1, but tire wear had played a factor. Last week was able to finish in the top 3 at Yas Marina, so starting to find that momentum and hopefully be able to contend here tonight as well. It's RZM Design and RZM Sean. Sean, the points leader, starting in the 2nd row in the 4th spot. Not horrible, but definitely is going to have some work to do. Then it's ESV Bombers and EXR Remix in the 3rd row. Following them, it's Diamond 2014 and ACR Sideways. And rounding out the top 10 is HYR Stokey Joe and Scored Buffalo. Behind the top 10, it's RZX JJ Red starting in the 11th spot alongside him, FCT Hard. 13th and 14th is SMX Avatar and RZX Jaguar. In the next row, it's EXR Juiced and Jason in the 16th spot. Following them is UDP Valkyrie alongside ARC Samuel for those 17th and 18th spot. Then it's JDMX Culture alongside SSR Quinn. And then rounding out the field and the only 4 GT out there. And I do see Culture in that Nismo. I should have mentioned that as well, being a loner, but it's Little Wolf rounding out the field. 2 minutes away from live action here at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit, as some of the competitors tonight said that there might be a little bit of some problems on track with the connections, so something that we don't have really control of here at MEA. It's more of a server and Xbox situation with Forza, so hopefully these drivers are able to kind of get it mellowed out. Probably the start of the race is going to be a little bit difficult if that is the case for some of these drivers. Drivers will be set up tonight for some weather conditions. Let's take a look at the current setups to make sure as well that we have everything right. The race is going to start a little bit cloudy out there tonight with some heavy rain, then a 60% chance of a drizzle late in this one, so some weather conditions could play a factor, and how long will that rain possibly be heavy? That's a good question as well. And then again, everything looks to be good on our end. 33 laps, no mandatory pit stops, so a lot of things to be thought of tonight for these drivers. So the beginning of the race shouldn't be too hectic. It's going to be a little bit nicer on the track, so these drivers can be a little bit more aggressive if they want to be. But, you know, early in the race, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to be part of the damage crew that has to pit early on. So, you know, these guys are going to definitely be thinking about that as they start this one up. I do see that all the drivers are ready to go. So it's a minute till, and then with that minute till, we're going to start it up right here. Round number 4, ladies and gentlemen, of the MEA GT Championship Series about to begin here at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit. 21 drivers here in the A lobby looking to go to war, looking to go to battle. Can Barcode close the gap on RZM Sean with only 2 more races to follow tonight? Sean with a 14-point gap lead, however, in the point standings. So right now, a lot can be changed just by this, and Sean doesn't want to get too far behind. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 4 of the MEA GT Championship Series is underway here at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit, as Barcode and Vanquish will lead us to green. And everybody loads into the racetrack. It's Vanquish at the outside. Oops, I hit the wrong button because Vanquish was ahead. We'll hop on with Vanquish. That's fine. He's driving a new scheme this week. He must have found a nice painter for that car, driving that dark blue striped vehicle. But they go door to door in turns 1 and 2 as they hit the chicane early on. Barcode to the outside, or the inside of him, coming off the corner, taps the inside of Vanquish's car. They're still 2x2 as they head into the following turn. RZM Sean and Bobberts, however, battling for that 3rd spot behind, but they get too wide. The leaders get wide off the corner, and new race leader, I believe that was ESV Bobberts, or I'm sorry, no, I do apologize. I thought they took the inside. That's my fault. You guys can laugh at me. That's no big deal. Barcode able to maintain the race lead here as they start duking it out. So Barcode able to battle it out. I saw the screen wrong. I do apologize for that, as we're still on board with Vanquish, and that's RZM Sean getting shoved a little bit wide right there. Not what he wants to see early on. Bobberts, however, a good start for him running in that 3rd spot. Now Vanquish taking the lead back from Barcode now on the opening lap here. Let's hop on board here as Sean looks to attack ESV Bobberts. It's RZM Design behind them. So Vanquish looks like he's got the opening lap here at Le Mans. And if you're RZM Sean, you like the sounds of that, and it's green the rest of the way here at Le Mans, and Vanquish will lead us into lap number 2. Now, we talked about Bobberts last week not getting a good jump, or I should say a good start at Yas Marina, finishing just into the top 5 last week as he goes door to door with RZM Sean right there. Didn't get a good run. Looks like Sean might have that inside line, but they'll swap. And Bobberts fell as far back as 8th last week in the opening round. Really had to catch on tight. And, you know, I talked to him after the race. He told me, he said, you know, my controller had low battery, so I wasn't able to feel the car the way I normally do. Once I got in the pit road, fixed everything up, I was able to kind of find my stride, and that was what was able to get him over the hump last week. RZM Sean, however, points leader, doesn't want to see Barcode get an opportunity to close that gap in the championship points. He's going to want to make short work of ESV Bobberts on this opening lap. Or these opening few laps, I should say. Now, if we pull up the race map at the bottom left corner of your screen, you're going to see only a couple cars have faded off. The JDMX Culture and Little Wolf right there. As we still sit on this 3rd place battle. Actually, it's dipped out. So let's Let's move back to the 8th spot. RZX JJ Red started 11th overall tonight. Has already moved inside the top 10. He's scored Buffalo along with him 1 spot up. So Scored Buffalo actually lost the position as HYR Stokey Joe goes to the inside of them. As we hop on the rear view camera, that's the roof camera, there's the rear view camera, as Stokey Joe was able to get to the inside and take that spot away from Scored Buffalo. EXR Remix, however, did not get a good start at this race, as you see him back outside the top 10, currently running in that 11th spot. JJ Red's on the offensive end of Diamond Man 2014 right now, trying to get this car going and head into the right direction. You know, JJ Reds, you know, he's been with MEA for quite a little while now, about a year and a half. Became a staff member as well. Really improved his racing over the last couple of years, and it's really shown. He's just getting better and better. He's a young kid, 19 years old, doing what he likes to do out there. Gets a little wide on that rumble strip, however, but it looks like he's got no competition behind him, so he's able to kind of, you know, rebound from that just slightly. No way for them to make the move. As we go up to the front of the leader, Vanquish FRST still leads us 1 over ESV Barcode. Bobbert's still in front of RZM Sean for 3rd. So the 3rd and 4th place battles are on right now. And I see someone asking about qualifying times. Well, I'll be happy to tell you those times. So in qualifications, it was Barcode who set the fastest time with a 35.5. As I'm still pulling it up, I just know that by the memory bank, as Barcode gets right into the back bumper of Vanquish right there. But Vanquish was able to put down a 35.8 in qualifying. And, you know, I did talk to Vanquish yesterday prior to the race. After his qualifying, I said, you know, I definitely don't know where the pace went in qualifying, but his concern was, could he drive on this racetrack? Because it's such a unique track, and it's also a track you don't see a lot in competitive racing here on Forza. So it's kind of a curveball for some of these guys, and even the top guys. But Vanquish getting the early lead back from Barcode at the start of this one. And now on the defensive end, and you know, Barcode's probably not going to press the issue too much early, as behind them it's ESV Bobberts, however. And Bobberts with probably the best start and the best run to his series so far in the 4 rounds that he's been in. But he's got the defending champion and the points leader right now, RZM Sean, really putting the pressure on him. Now these drivers, you know, they set up their race cars, they set up their schemes, they set up their tunes as Sean throws it down to the inside. He just barely, I think he did touch the inside of Bobberts right there, but had to lay off. But we're going to find out how these cars are set up. Some of these drivers are, you know, nobody knows what the rain conditions is. Just like in real life, we don't know what's going to happen out there on the racetrack, what the weather's going to do. So you tune your car the best you can throughout the race. The difference is we can't really mess with it as things change. So you're hoping as a driver, did I make the right adjustments? Did I tune the car for the long haul? When it gets wet, when it gets dry? Where's going to be my strength here tonight? Now I know talking to Vanquish, he felt really confident getting back into the rain. It showed really good 2 rounds ago at Nürburgring, where he had a slow start in that race, but as the race progressed, he was a lot stronger than Barcode and the other drivers in that race. So being out front right now in the dry conditions, leading this thing, might be a really nice advantage for him as this race starts to progress. We start seeing the rainfall as Sean's still putting that pressure on Bobberts. But we're going to go further back as RZM Design is kind of by himself in 5th. Let's talk about ACR Sideways. ACR Sideways has had an up and down season. He's all by himself as well, looking to try to challenge for a top 5 with Design in front of him as he's trying to track him down. Sideways, first time appearance here at MEA ever, so a rookie nonetheless. And doing a good job. He's definitely not had the success early on in the season, but as the season progressed, and last week at Yasmania was definitely one of his strongest runnings, he's really shown to be a strong competitor out there, so keep an eye on him as the rain conditions start to come in. Now behind him is the 7th and 8th place battle between Diamond Man 2014 and JJ Reds, the RZX driver and team leader. Now JJ's trying to put the pressure on the driver in the C7R. He's also brought in a friend of HYR Stokey Joe behind him. And Stokey Joe just kind of hanging out, you know, just kind of waiting to see if these guys will slip up in a slower car in the Viper. So waiting for those wet conditions, really setting himself up for the long haul. Not a car that's probably going to get you the acceleration. All right. Well, I definitely just kicked out that mic. I do apologize, but he's not. That car's not the type of car that's going to really come off the edge quick. So he's basically playing for a wet race, hoping that the rain will come down and that car's strength, being a grip car, will come in as the race goes on. So we'll see how that plays out for them as we've got a 3-car battle here for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Now, going back to the overall times, we know that Vanquish and Barcode both ran a 35.5 for Barcode, 35.8 for Vanquish. RZM Design ran a 35.9 in the Dodge Viper. So you know, Design is also setting up for hopefully a wet race, condition type style, and hoping that this car's benefit from being, like Stokie Joe, a grip, you know, vehicle. Staying within striking distance will definitely play a stronger factor once these conditions start to come in. And then RZM Sean ran a 36 flat, 36.060, and then the Bobberts and the Bentley ran a 36.2. So that was your top 5, and then we'll tell you the top 10. So EXR Remix ran a 36.5 in the C7R. Diamond Man as well ran a 36.6. Sideways ran a 36.8, all in the C7R. Then Stokie Joe in the Viper ran a 36.8. And then rounding out the top 10 was the M8 of Scored Buffalo with a 37 flat 002. So those are your top 10 times in qualifications, as these two still continue to do battle, and that's probably what Design wants to see right now. You know, these guys are in front of you. You want them to battle. You want them to duke it out. You want them to put the pressure on one another, because when you have the chance and when you have the time, you're going to have a chance to pounce. And with the hope of these rain conditions to really play a factor in favor of Design's car, you know, that's where you want to be right now. You want to see these guys duking it out as the lead battle still is on. Nothing major right now. Nobody's really pushing the issue just yet. These are two veteran drivers, two guys that know what they're doing. You know, Vanquish, who's competed in the FRC, has seen some of the very best in the world. And Barcode, who's been one of the best for the last couple of years now or so, really out front, really going to work. Vanquish hasn't had the start to the season he would have liked to have had, but we know Vanquish really doesn't care about winning the championship, just out here trying to have some fun, trying to have some good races. So this is what they want, and this is what you're going to get, as Vanquish got a little bit wide going into that corner there, but did not lose a whole lot of time just there. Now it looks like Design is closing that gap on these guys, and he is, because Bobberts has been able to defend Sean pretty well at the start of this one. Now the assumption is these cars should be able to make it to the end without making a pit stop today. There should not be any real fuel mileage factor, but how about the tire wear? And we'll pull up the telemetry right now for you guys. Sean up to about 20% in the fronts, 21% in the left front. And when we hop on Bobberts, he's probably going to be a little bit worse with the 22% in the left front, not majorly concerned. And then when we hop on with Design in the Viper, he's about even at 21% and a little bit better on the fuel mileage. So again, fuel probably not going to be a factor today. As we hop back onto that 7th, 8th place battle between JJ Reds and Diamond Man 2014. Doesn't look like either one of them got the advantage of each other, but however, it's EXR Remix, ladies and gentlemen, in the 9th spot, recovering from a bad start to this race, or maybe in his standards, a bad start, because he was a little bit further up at the starting line, able to get around HYR Stokie Joe. JJ starting to lose a little bit of that distance on Diamond Man 2014. And that's the thing about Diamond Man. Diamond Man kind of doesn't have the best overall consistency pace on the racetrack. You see Diamond Man a lot of times have good runs, but then you kind of see people get brought back into the race. And then as they come and go, you kind of see where his strengths start picking up, and he tends to finally get that consistency, but it takes a while. So maybe he's picked up on it early, but once those conditions of rain start coming in, I don't know how that's going to affect him. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. But the battle for 8th is on right now. It's EXR Remix looking for a pass on JJ Reds right now in the Bentley. And the C7R putting the pressure on the Bentley driver right now. Oh, but it looks like a little bit of a lag punt right there. And that was one we talked about, a little bit of those conditions of just connection problems. You saw that JJ wasn't, you know, right in front of him when they tapped, and unfortunately, oh no! Dan Remix might have called it a day. He said he was having problems in the meetup to race, which could have been a factor as well right here, and I believe that is exactly what it happens. We hopped on board with 20th place driver at the time, 21st place driver, Little Wolf, 0-0 there. So a tough break for Remix, and you know that was probably what happened to Remix early in this race, was the connection just wasn't there. And you know, Remix is one of the few drivers that has that consistent issue here at MEA, but it's something that we just don't have the control of. So unfortunately for him, looks like he's going to end his day early with that particular issue. So tough break for Remix, who's kind of pretty much had a really good season so far, but we know back at Silverstone he struggled, and then the last 2 rounds I think he's been okay. So just one of those unfortunate circumstances for the EXR driver of Remix, the first driver out of this one on the first opening 9 laps of this race. Now the back to the race lead as we sit on it, it's Vanquish still leading over Barcode. In knowing Vanquish, he's just going to hold those lines. He's not going to press the issue, not going to try to put down the hottest time on the track, but he's a guy that only knows gas down and foot down, and he ain't going to let up. So Vanquish trying to keep Barcode behind him, as the battle behind them has kind of halted for the moment, but Sean's still kind of sitting there. Now RZM Design coming into the picture, starting to close the gap on him. And the Design definitely has had a fast car coming into this race today. Third fastest in qualifying, 4th fastest qualifying. Didn't mean to kind of forget that, but I don't have the list directly in front of me. And JJ's lost, maybe did not lose, I don't know. No, they didn't lose positions. I'm just seeing it wrong. So let's hop back to Jag, see how he's holding up. Right behind Juiced right now. And then FCT hard behind him. So pretty much the mid-pack back is kind of pretty much spread out. Not a whole lot going on. Now Samuel and Quinn are battling. It looks like UDP Valkyrie as well. She's in the mix. As we hop on with ACR Samuel for the moment here. Let's take a look at this 3-car battle. Kind of a 4-car battle. And he goes to the inside, but can't get the job done. Quinn able to fend off Samuel. Valkyrie with no opportunity to pass, and then it's JDMX Culture in the 19th spot. And Culture's in that one of those grip cars as well, hoping that the rain conditions will play a huge role into his success today. So Quinn was able to hold off for the moment, but we're going to hop back up to the race lead as Vanquish still trying to fend off ESV Barcode. And these two have pretty much drifted away from the field. So again, only EXR Remix out of this race, and unfortunately for Remix, like we said, just unfortunate connection problems and just out of our control. We hate to see it. Hop back on behind these two. It's RZM Sean still working on ESV Bobberts. Now the good thing for Sean right now is that first place car is not Barcode. And Barcode is again 14 points back. A win here today with where Sean is sitting right now could really would bring him back into it and actually take the points lead away from him. So Sean having to try to figure a way around Bobberts. He's gotten close a couple times, just can't seem to keep it there. But you know, we've seen some great strides in Sean's range driving over the course of the last year and a half as he gets to the outside of Bobberts for the moment, trying to do a little crossover, just doesn't have the run. And has been very strong at these types of styles of races, but again, this is a track that we do not see very often, and I would probably be speaking for the majority of Forza leagues that operate, as we got a little bit of a lag ourselves right there. That this track, though, is not something that usually gets presented. Now, you see places like Brands Hatch, you know, the full version of Brands Hatch for the add-on, not just the Indy circuit, right? You probably see that a lot more, but that is also another track. So you get these different styles of tracks that you don't go to very often. It does play a factor in your racing and how you attack, how you defend. When you don't see something often, it's just the same thing as like you don't race with certain people often. You got to kind of adjust and see what they do, and kind of learn with battling one another. Now Design's in the mix. Again, Design's on the back end almost of Sean. And we could see this rain starting to fall, I think, in the next couple of laps, I would assume. As we're about quarter left into this race. We'll hop back over to JJ Reds for the moment and see how that back there is playing out. So Diamond Man's definitely pulling away from JJ Reds, and Stokey Joe's still there, but Scored Buffalo starting to kind of ease himself into the picture. And another car that could be a big factor in the rain conditions, because the M8's not about top speed, not about overall speed. It's about grip and keeping tight in those corners. So if Scored Buffalo can make something happen here in the wet conditions when they come in, he's also in a great position. Now, that Viper in front, definitely going to be a strong car, but the car that JJ is in, the Bentley, how good is that car going to hold up in the rain? That's the question. And if he can keep that thing planted and keep that thing in the lines for defense, it'll be tough to get around because those are big cars. And imagine the Bentley and the M8 going at one another. Two boats. You got the Boatley, and then you got the M8 boat that doesn't have any real nickname there. So Buffalo looking to try to find something happen. We're going to go back to the race lead. However, Vanquish FRC still has led every lap in this race. And if you're just tuning in, this is round number 4 of the MEA GT Championship Series here at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit. I'm SSR Mayhem. Welcome to almost the halfway point. We're about a quarter way through this one. Barcode and Vanquish have been duking it out since the start of this race. Barcode had the lead briefly off of this turn specifically, but then Vanquish was able to battle himself back to the front and it led the opening lap and then was able to pretty much keep Barcode behind since then. Fuel not possibly going to be a factor here tonight. Could tires be a factor tonight? That's the question. But the rain should be coming, and once it does, I'm curious to see how these guys are gonna, play it out. And these two have pretty much been very mellow with one another, so I don't think we're gonna see any shots for the lead from Barcode unless a simple mistake comes from Vanquish. And if not that, then we'll probably not see any attacks at the end until the end of the race. Which Sean gets really deep into that corner, hits the back end of Bobberts. Sean probably a little frustrated right now. Can't seem to get around the ESV driver of Bobberts. Now RZM Design probably loving this up right now. He's right there in the midst. And here comes the rain. Just saw some raindrops on screen. I see a request for some tire wear, so we'll go through the tire wear here as the rain starts to fall. Vanquish's left front is at 43.2%. Now the rain's going to slow down this tire wear that we're seeing. And Barcode looks like he got to the inside for the moment. And the Barcode a little bit less on the tire wear, about 40% at the front. So 3% more for Vanquish. Now we're going to specifically pinpoint at that left front. That left front's being used a lot more than the right side. With the rain conditions in, it's definitely going to play a factor. Bobbert's about 45%. And then Sean, the first C7R behind the Bentleys, is at 44%. Meanwhile, Design is at 43%. So that's your top 5 when we talk about the left front. So pretty much, pretty much the way we're going to look at that is the front tires are about a little bit over 40% wear. The back tires are just under 35% or on it. So your top 5 looking good, but Sean looking to the inside, trying to make a pass on Bobberts, and look at the wetness become a factor as Design as well cuts through the chicane. Nothing intentional right there, but Bobberts trying to fend off Sean side by side at the end of this track, and who's going to have the advantage? And Sean with the pass for third, so RZM Sean able to get it done right there. Design tapping the back bumper of ESV Bobberts for fourth. So Sean now able to try to get this thing going and to track down the leaders at the front. Meanwhile, oh man, I thought I was going to be seeing another pass by RZM Design. Want to check the lead battle. Let's see what Design does as they come up here. And Bobberts did everything he could. He was able to hold him off in the dry conditions, but once the rain came down, you saw that Sean was able to take advantage of a mistake by Bobberts. Bobberts got too deep and just wasn't able to hug the inside as much as he could, opening the door. And again, Bobberts gets wide off the corner. Design to the inside, going door to door off the edge, but the Bentley with the power, able to keep that car in front. So Design not able to make it happen. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, it's Vanquish FRC. Vanquish goes way wide, but was able to hold on to it. Not sure if that was planned. Barcode, however, not able to capitalize. So we'll go back to the third, fourth, and fifth place battle as RZM Design trying to put the pressure on ESV Bobberts for fourth. And Sean, you know, we talked about it early on. He was able to make things happen in conditions he tends to put himself down for. We talked about this last year. We talked about this earlier this season. Probably didn't have the performance we expected out of him at Nürburgring. But he was also in the Viper, and the Viper just did not go the way he wanted to. And that C7R is showing to be pretty good out here right now, as we're still sitting on with Design. So Design putting that pressure on Bobberts now. Now Bobberts already has made small mistakes in this one. As we're in that weird camera angle, I might just switch to the onboard camera when that section comes back up. So Sean's starting to drift away, and Barcode has taken over the race lead. It's ESV Barcode to the front now, to the point. Vanquish had made a big mistake somewhere. We missed it, just like I did last week, and we missed it when Sean took the race lead. And it looks like Vanquish's mistake was not a minimal mistake. It was quite a bit of a mistake. So Vanquish finally losing the lead on lap 16 as ESV Barcode now at the front. So we'll check that out in a little bit. Sorry that we missed that battle. We had this 3-car battle going on. Design's putting the pressure on Bobberts, Barcode's teammate. 20 cars still on the race surface. So we pull up the race map, you can see the gap between everybody. Scored Buffalo and Stokey Joe was able to get around JJ Reds. Let's hop on with Scored Buffalo as he puts the pressure on HYR Stokey Joe. So we have a few battles on the racetrack, and it's just so hard to see them all without being able to have little side cameras that we're able to, put on, which would have been so cool, right? Have a little camera at the bottom left or whatever with another battle on track. See them all, but Stokey Joe and Scored Buffalo able to make moves on JJ Reds. And JJ starting to fade into the distance. Car was a really good car on the dry conditions. And then, we obviously missed Vanquish getting passed by Barcode at that same moment of the race. But looks like Vanquish is starting to put the laps back in. Now, last time they were in these types of conditions, they were racing at, I was about to say Vanquish, they were racing at Nürburgring. And he was able to reel in Sean and then Barcode, then take the race lead. So can he get the job done here today? That's a question yet to be answered. Still a lot of racing left in this one. And as we hop back with ESV Bobberts trying to put the pressure back on Sean. He's got RZM Design still at the rear of him. 3-car battle for third, fourth, and fifth. It's probably the tightest of 3 cars on the racetrack right now for sure. I'm not sure if Design got wide there or was missing a puddle. And Sean gets a little bit wide. Bobberts trying to get to the inside, but the momentum on Sean's side, and Sean able to keep that spot from Bobberts. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the 4th round of the MEA GT Championship Series here at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit. A little bit of action from the opening lap as Barcode opened up the initial start with the lead, but Vanquish was able to get it back, or to take it over, I should say. And then Vanquish able to retake it to lead the lap. And then it led pretty much the first 15 laps, and then Barcode, after a Vanquish mistake, had taken the race lead. Sean sat behind Bobberts for the majority of those opening dry laps. And then once the rain came down, Bobberts overshot a corner, which opened up a gap for RZM Sean. But Sean hasn't really been able to distance himself just yet. Design really getting deep there. Looked like he was looking for an outside move, just wasn't there for it. And during the whole time Sean and Bobberts had been battling, Design was able to close a gap on them, and now he's in the mix of the fight. So we'll see what happens to those guys. But ACR Sideways still running 6th. 7th will be Diamond Man 2014. HYR Stokie Joe and Squirt Buffalo, who also during that time was sitting behind JJ Reds. The rain came down. JJ wasn't able to hold them off, so he had fallen back to the 10th spot. As we just took a quick look down on the list of names. EXR Remix, the only driver out so far. Now Design gets to the inside of Bobberts to go door to door, slamming each other's door sides, but Bobberts with the power. And Bobberts is going to push on by and keep Design behind him. And the rain might be lightening up. No, it's definitely not. Just so that camera angle. I was like, wait a minute. 60% missed. And did it come in? It came in at the most interesting time, if that's the case. 60% chance of a miss. So Bobberts was able to hold off Design for the moment. Sean hasn't been able to get himself away from Bobberts. We'll hop on, we'll stay here for the moment, see what happens in this first section. We're going to track back up to the race later. Then we're going to go through the field, take a look at everybody. Get everybody their TV time. Remix got his, but unfortunately it ended with him having to pull his car out for connection issues. And Remix not able to make a run through that section. So let's hop onto the front, see how this has played out since the last couple of laps. Barcode has distanced himself from Vanquish. And Vanquish might have taken a pit stop. He did. Vanquish FRC in pit road, ladies and gentlemen. The first and only car that had gone down pit road that we know of. Not sure if he had received any damage after losing the race lead or had gotten into an accident, but Vanquish FRC made a pit stop, has fallen back to 6th, currently going to war here. I say war like it's really a war, but going to battle with ACR Sideways. So question is, can these cars make it the distance? Maybe he doesn't believe that. He gets to the inside of Sideways, and he'll get back into the top 5. So Vanquish making a pit stop, put him behind Sideways, but made light work of it, and has moved back into the top 5. Meanwhile, going through the rest of the field again, we're going to get on ESV Barcode, currently a race leader, has led since lap 16, was behind Vanquish for the first quarter of this one, pretty much. And then it's RZM Sean and ESV Bobberts, 2nd and 3rd. And Sean has really pulled away from Bobberts. It's RZM Design in the 4th spot, putting the pressure still on ESV Bobberts. But just not there to put enough pressure on. Now Vanquish has lost the spot back from Sideways. Oh, nope, Sideways went into pit road. So the second car heading into pit road is ACR Sideways. Now Diamond 2014 currently in that 6th spot. Again, questions are up in the air right now. Can you make it the distance? Can you not? Based on what had been tested, the lap count should have been able to get these cars to distance. But that's the question, right? Was it based on if it would rain the majority of the race? That's a big question. Now behind Diamond 2014 is HYR Stokie Joe and Squirt Buffalo. And these two guys have been pretty close to one another. Haven't really distanced themselves since passing JJ Reds, who's actually behind them right now in that 9th position. JJ, who had a really good start to this one, got himself up to 8th, maybe even 7th briefly. And then once the rain came, wasn't really able to hold off those two drivers but still inside the top 10. And, you know, that's what you aim for right now, especially a driver that's, you know, getting better. You just want the good results to come in. Might not be your day, might not always be the race you want, but JJ still fighting hard in 9th. Then it's FCT Hard, and Hard joined us in round 2 at Nürburgring. Had a probably really bad performance to his standards, but has had a very good round 3, and here in round 4, top 10 at the moment. And then it's SMX Savitar behind Sideways, who finally came out of pit road, running 12th, and another good performance by SMX Savitar. We know we talked last week about how Savitar hasn't had a good run really for over a year or so now. So these last 2 races have been pretty huge for Savitar. So really good to see him performing well. And then it's the rookie in his debut appearance last week in the MEA GT Championship, Jason E. Currently running 13th right now in the Bentley. And then it's EXR Juice as well, as a rookie in this series as well in MEA. Currently running 14th in front of RZX Jaguar right there. And Jag trying to, I mean, Jag's been behind Juice for a while, so these two might see some battling in the near future here. Then it's SSR Quinn, 16th, 17th, JDMX Culture. And then UDP Valkyrie, she had not been with us for the first 3 rounds, had qualified for a couple of them, receiving those quality points. Currently running 18th here today. And then it's Little Wolf, 00 in the Ford GT. And I know this car probably is going to have to see a pit stop with 3% engine damage. This car has the smallest fuel tank in the entire field. And then ARC Samuel. Now Samuel has made a pit stop. So Samuel currently running 20th at the moment. Now, is that Barcode creeping up? No, that's not. So we pull up the race map here. Well, I think that is Barcode. No, Little Wolf went in pit road. So Samuel and Barcode both a lap down in this one. So Sean still running 2nd for the time being. RZM Design behind him for 3rd. 4th is ESV Bobberts. Let's take a look at Bobberts here. Bobberts, not sure how that pass happened. Sorry for those that were looking forward to that battle. I wasn't able to be on it, but looks like Design just got by him for the 3rd spot. So Bobberts, not sure how that played out, but he's been under pressure since really the rain has come out. So, you know, those guys have been putting a lot on him. He doesn't got nobody behind him now, so he can focus on the offensive end of things. Just trying to keep himself close. And then Vanquish FRC in the 5th spot. So you gotta wonder, can these cars make a distance? I don't know. I was pretty sure they could. Maybe it was a safe call. I don't know. But based on the first 3 rounds, I was told I'm going all out. So I'm going to assume he had damage from Vanquish. Now, we know we've seen a few other drivers enter pit road since then. Is Bobbert still trying to work Design for the 3rd spot as we get with 10 to go. And I'm not sure who that is. It looks like we have a hurt car out there. And that might be ARC Samuel with problems. Or had just gotten out of the way. It looks like he just gotten out of the way. So just trying to stay out of trouble, trying not to be a difference factor in this one. And Design looks like he's starting to pull on Sean for 2nd, so something to keep an eye on. Let's hop further back. Hop on with Score Buffalo briefly. Still behind HYR Stokey Joe. And Score Buffalo, 2nd appearance out of 4 races. Representing the M8 in both of them so far. She's big and beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. She's big and beautiful. It looks like Stokey's just kind of starting to pull that gap on him. Oh, wait a minute. Let's hop on here with this battle for 13th, 14th. And Jag was able to get by EXR Juiced. 2 Corvette drivers out there in the C7Rs. Jag, another newcomer in the MEA. Wanting to compete with the best he can compete with in Forza. And we talked to him after the first round of the championship. He started on the pole from the opening round of the reverse grid week. Had fallen, had done a good job, honestly, but had slowly fallen back to the field. And he said, you know, you've really got to be on it in these GT races and MEA. He said the competition's really tight as he goes to the outside. Remix was able to get to his inside, going door to door now. But the one thing he was talking about was just how stiff the competition was as he falls back to 14th. He said he enjoyed it. It makes you work harder as a driver, someone who's trying to come up through the ranks, and to have that challenge, I'm definitely sure he's learning a lot, and you know, he's putting it to good use. So Jag losing that spot back from Juice, but I'm sure this battle is yet to be over. Now going back up to Barcode, the race leader in this one, we're going to pull up his statistics right now. About 60% of the tire wear, 30% fuel. It might be fuel saving if he does not think that that car can make it to the end. Sean, on the other hand, in way better condition with the fuel. Way better condition. Design still behind, Bobberts follow. Didn't know how this race was going to pan out today. A track we don't come to very often, a track that you just don't race on a lot. And you know, it's definitely a tough place when you don't see it often. Now these wet conditions are starting to, looks like the rain is lightening up, and it is. So a slight miss, yeah, you can tell the rain has slowed down. Well, on that, you know, that is that same view as last time that I said. I'm not sure if it's starting to slow down. It looks like it's starting to slow down. It might still be a moderate rain at the moment. You can still see the rain going across the car as Sean getting through that last section, making the double right here. Now we're going to hop further back in the field with Stokey Joe, who's got the pressure on him right now from Scored Buffalo in the M8. Buffalo showing us what that M8 can do. Not many people like to drive it. It's a big girl, and she's a beauty, that's for sure. And you hear that turbo kick. Looks like Buffalo has found the pace, found the momentum, and is on the offensive end. And Stokey Joe now having to play defense. Let's take a look from the rear camera view of Stokey Joe. Look at all that spray up on the windshield of Buffalo. But Buffalo not fazed by it whatsoever. Able to keep the gap within reach and really close it in right there. Look at that. Stokey Joe trying to keep Buffalo behind. I was just asked about the fuel difference between the Viper. Now the Viper's at 32% with Stokey Joe. Buffalo at 19%. I believe it can make it to the end. It's going to be tight. You know, I don't know that question exactly. Let's hop up to the front, take a look at these guys real quick. You know, I believe these guys are going to be okay. 28% for Sean, and you know they're still a ways back, but and design's pretty good shape as well. As Bobbert's starting to fade. Now again, remember this, ladies and gentlemen, these drivers know the laps for the race. They know that the part of conditions can be weather effects, and they are told, the only thing they are told is there will be wet conditions at some point in the race. How long or how little is, you know, just like real life, you just don't know. So you hope that you pick the right car, you hope you get the right setups. So can these cars make it the distance? I was pretty positive they could. And that's still a big question mark right now. You pull up the race map, you can see where these two are right here. The blue dot. They're literally crossing paths right now, just on different sides of the track. Now Vanquish doesn't need to worry about any of these things. But how about Design putting the pressure on Sean now for second? Design with a really good run these last few weeks. had a really rough round one, got into a little contact with TNR Bryant at Silverstone. Really cost him quite a bit of vital points in that race. You know, Design's a fighter, though. You know, he was really upset, really disappointed. Definitely a competitive person. It's always good to be competitive. It makes you drive to be great. Sean's not going to give this one up easily, though. Sean's going to fight for a championship. He knows what the point difference between first and second is. It's a 10-point difference between first and second. So you don't want to just give up important points right now. You're 14 points ahead. Don't want to lose too much. Sitting where he's at, that's still giving him a comfortable points lead heading into the next week. You know, in the final two races of the series, you know, they're going to head to Watkins Glen and then Indianapolis for the GP circuit, the classic one for the championship. So Watkins is going to be probably really competitive, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. And Design just putting all sorts of pressure now on his teammate. You know, they're teammates, right? But in this race, they're competitors, and they're not going to give each other an inch. We're at the closing stages. 6 laps to go now. Tires are starting to get near the wear and tear time where you can kind of start to feel the difference a little bit, hitting that 70% marker. Sean, I think, is a little bit closer to that. Yeah, he's pretty much on it, left front, but the back left, the left rear is actually in good shape. And then the leader, ESV Barcode, I think he might be in trouble. I don't know. I don't know. Again, these guys, these gals, all these people having to figure it out week in and week out. Is scored Buffalo, still fending off Stokey Joe for 7th after getting by him. And Sean still trying to keep Design behind him as they get into some lap traffic. And that was UDP Valkyrie letting them on by, trying to stay out of the way. Sean probably hoping that something happens to the Bentley in front. You know, these guys test their cars. Like, they know what cars are going to be good here, what cars will be fast, what cars are going to be grippier, and what cars just can't make it or not going to be quick. And when you see someone choose the opposite of you, it makes you question, did I make the right decision? Can the car make it to the end? Will my tires slow? Will the gas be filled until the end? Will I make it? Can I fend off these drivers at the end? And right now, you probably got to feel a little bit better in the C7R based on the statistics we've seen, but he's got a full mirror of RZM Design. And you know, though you're racing against each other as competitors, you're still teammates within the team. How hard do you drive your teammate? How hard do you press your teammate? How hard do you push them to their complete limit? Sean looked like he got off the edge just a little bit right there. It looks like we lost another driver. Not sure who that was. Oh! Barcode! Barcode's out of the race! A lag out by ESV Barcode! Sean, new race leader! Unprecedented situation! Not sure what happened. Chasney, the lap car, is trying to keep to the outside, and this could be your battle for the lead and the win here. I'm really not sure what had happened to ESV Barcode. Sure, we'll find out. But that was so uncommon, so unheard of. And Barcode, you know, he was running that thin thread. I have never seen Barcode lag out of a race. So that is why it is such a shocker for me. Tough break for the championship contender of ESV Barcode. This opens up a whole door for RZM Sean being the championship leader. Now what do you do if you're Sean? Now what goes through your mindset? What do you do if you're Design? And I know Design. I know he's not going to give this away easily. He does not care that his teammate's the points leader. He probably doesn't care if his teammate wins this race. He doesn't want to create an accident, but he definitely doesn't want to get this thing up. He's right in the reach of getting his first win on the season. We haven't seen Design win since last GT Championship Series last year in the final round. And look at this! Design to the outside! He's going to run into the race lead! An outside pass by RZM Design! New race leader, 3 laps to go! And you gotta wonder right now what is going on with RZM Sean. He seemed to pretty much give that up once Design got to the outside. Not sure if the tire wear is a concern for Sean. But a great pass nonetheless by Design. Sean looking to the inside. And I definitely don't think that was given to Design. It looked like Sean didn't get a good run off the last corner. And if he did give that away, it has to be the concern of tire wear right now. But I think he would be okay until the end. New race leader, ladies and gentlemen, RZM Design going for the first win on the season. Had a really rough opening round, and Design starting to pull away from Sean. What big news would that be if he is able to hold off his teammate to get that first illustrious win of the season, of the year at MEA for Design? You know how important these championships are for him. He's a guy that doesn't just do this for fun. He takes it seriously. He wants to be competitive. He wants to win races. He wants to be a part of the very best. What a moment. What a wild moment. First Barcode's lag out. Then the pass for the race lead by Design. And he's not just past him. He is starting to pull away from Sean. And Sean might be in trouble. Meanwhile, ESV Roberts could be in that same situation of trouble. He's down to 8% fuel with 2 laps to go. Tire wear's up over the 75% marker, reaching that 80% limit. And you can hear it, Roberts is fuel saving. Roberts is fuel saving. Problems for the number 8 machine. Vanquish FRC looking the challenge for third. Now, Vanquish could get more than that. If there's a concern by Sean, he might be able to get that second spot. We pull up the race map. You see how far these guys are. They are not far away from him at all. He can go full force, all nature, all out. This is a moment. Can Vanquish pick up 2 spots? I don't think Design's in any sort of concern. He's got plenty of gas. Tires should make it. This is going to be tight. RZM Design so frustrated at the beginning of the season. Was very, very upset with TNR Bryant after some collision between the 2 drivers. The MEA officiating crew, through their judges system, had ruled it a racing situation. Design so frustrated. Had 2 really solid weeks these last two rounds, I should say. Going for his first win on the season. What a story this could be for him. RZM has always been good in MEA. They've always brought their drivers in prepared. I know this one will mean something to him if he can get the job done. 2 laps to go. Meanwhile, Roberts is in trouble, and he's not in a good position right now. You see the blue car of Vanquish FRC slowly getting into the picture. Meanwhile, RZM Sean, I believe, is okay. 11% of gas, should be able to go to the end. Not for Sean. It's a very bad situation for him, only because. And we just got word, breaking news. ESV Barcode has confirmed, for the first time in 6 months, his game has crashed. What a horrible time to have that happen in a league. And you know what's crazy is he was in contention still in contention, but it's going to set him back immensely. So these next 2 weeks are very vital for Barcode if he wants to get back in the championship fight. But Sean's not the only one to worry about, or I should say barcode. Let's take a quick look at these points as they come around for the final 2 laps of this race. Design, getting into that lap traffic, putting cars down, feeling good, feeling alive. And ESV Bobberts is 3rd overall in the championship. RZM Popping actually did not make today's race, unfortunately. And then it's Design in 5th. That would honestly be kind of the guys. I mean, EXR Remix 6th, 7th would be Arsenal, who didn't show up today. And then there's Vanquish, who had a couple of bad weeks. As Little Wolf, we'll let him on go. If Sean has issues here, though, at the end of the race, that could also make it a little interesting because he might fall back further than he wants, but I think he's safe. I don't think Sean's going to have any problems. White flag in the air, though. 1 to go. RZM Design, the race leader, looking to finish this one strong. And that car is good to go to the end. Let's check on the points leader, however. It's RZM Sean. He is lifting. Sean is lifting. Not sure. And it's his tires that might possibly be going. Meanwhile, Bobberts still in front of Vanquish, but Vanquish looks for a pass now. Bobberts trying to fend him off. The Bentley against the Bentley, 2% fuel to go. Do you put it to the floor? Bobberts is powering through right now. Vanquish FRC with no concern. He made a pit stop about quarter way in this race. Probably a decision based on what he saw statistically from the fuel stats. Bobberts to the outside, Vanquish looks to the inside. They're gonna go door to door down the straight. Vanquish with the outside move. Now cuts back to the inside. No, he does not. Wasn't the section of the racetrack I thought it was. Oops, I didn't mean to just hop on with him. And look at the crossover by Vanquish. To the inside. And he'll take that 3rd spot away. Bobberts trying to respond. They tap, but it's not gonna phase. Vanquish to 3rd. RZM Deshawn getting to the final section of the racetrack. What a story. What a day! A frustrating start to the beginning of the season, but rebounded so well. He will come around for the final time, the final 2 turns. He is going to be a winner once again in the MEA GT Championship Series, his first win on the season. Sean will bring that car home 2nd. Looks like he ran out of fuel at the line. Vanquish FRC, after pitting, will have to finish 3rd. Bobberts will be 4th. And Bobberts is also out of fuel. But how about this? A top 5 for Diamond Man 2014. And he's just going to lift that car over the line. HYR Stokey Joe able to keep that car out there. Squirt Buffalo had to make a pit stop, unfortunately. RZX JJ Reds as well, trying to limp that car in the 7th spot. Then it's ACR sideways behind him in 8th. Should be good. Yeah, he had a pit as well. Squirt Buffalo still inside the top 10 with 4% transmission damage. Not sure how he had gotten that coming out of the pits. Rounding out the top 10, as long as he can keep it there, is RZX Jaguar. And it looks like EXR Juiced decided to pit. And Jag's going to bring that toughie home with some major tire wear. But FCT Hard is right behind him in 10th. Wait, is that? No, sorry, 11th. And he's closing the gap. How bad is that front left on Jag? Coming around for the final double right for these 2 drivers, but Jag's going to hang on to finish the top 10. And then it's going to be Hard, finishing 11th. SSR Quinn started at the tail of the field, is going to bring this car home 12th. However, illegal paint scheme is going to give him a points penalty. Did not put the right car on the track, it looks like. So a tough penalty for him. That's an automatic 25-point deduction in his overall championship standings, but he'll bring it home 12th. 13th, we Jason as he passes Little Wolf across the line, but Little Wolf a couple laps down. SMX Savitar 14th, getting a top 15 finish. EXR Juiced, as he had definitely probably had to make that pit stop with all this. Oh, and Valkyrie gets loose from the AI! And Valkyrie with some problems! But Valkyrie will bring that thing home 16th. Nobody to worry about. Samuel's too far behind. So a little bit of chaos there at the end for Valkyrie, but it wasn't with the actual competition on track. So Samuel's going to bring that car home 17th, 18th. Oh no! Out of gas! It's JDMX Culture! Culture with severe rear damage. Probably got it from one of the AI cars. We've seen this story before. Definitely is not going to make it to the finish line. And I think the same thing happened to the Ford GT in 19th. So that will wrap it up. It looks like the timer has come to an end. Post-race interviews coming up next here at MEA. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. So the top 5 will be coming in for the interview. We'll probably have to get designed on the Discord. And then Sean and the rest will be able to do it here. And Vanquish with the smart decision to make a pit stop. And the reason why we're going to put design on the Discord is because he actually wasn't coming through last week in the party. So we're going to get these guys in here. Give me a moment. We don't want to score Buffalo. I mean, we could. Sure, he doesn't need to be brought in. He would have plenty of stories to tell with his battle on track with Stokey Joe. That's for sure. So we're going to get the top 5 in here. I'm still going to bring design into the party, so that way he can hear these guys out. I think actually I need bobbers. So we're going to get these drivers in. We're going to make sure that the party audio gets connected up. And let's see if it's checked off for these guys, and it is. And then just to confirm to design, because last week we didn't get you in. I don't know why last week. If you want to just be sure, we can do it through the Discord, and I'll just have you come through the headset if you want to do it that way. But you want to check real quick?
Yes, maybe check the
Sure, let's do a quick check. I'll do a quick check with you. I don't hear you from my end, so just to be safe, go ahead into the Discord channel on your phone or whatever, if you can.
All right, I'll join in it after.
Oh, okay, that's fine. All right, so yeah, we'll get the design. We just talked to him. For the rest of you guys, make sure your party audio is checked off. And again, ladies and gentlemen, here are your final results on the screen. We'll go down to the bottom first so we can see the bottom half. And then we roll back up. Sorry that was quick. Actually, I'll leave it down there. But we're going to start with 5th place finisher, which would be Diamond Man 2014. And Diamond Man, quite the race for you. It was actually a very quiet race for you. Not a lot of action overall. You did have some battles early on in the race, but some issues with some of the guys in the front. You're able to kind of fight throughout the day. 5th overall in round number 4. It's got to feel good. You've had some good runs this season. The first 2 rounds, you're able to finish, I believe, I think 11th or 12th for the first 2 rounds. You had a good week last week at Yas Marina. And then today at top 5. Give us your take on today's race and how your season's gone so far.
Well, my take on the season is it's been okay. For the race for today, my main goal is just to save fuel. Chevy's quite first. Finished with 7.5% fuel, so I may have overdone that. Since the beginning of the race, I had that weird low latency thing, so yeah, that was a whole worry as well. But yeah, it was an okay race. I enjoyed it. Bit sketchy in some parts, but you know.
Yeah, what were some of the challenges today at a track that you don't probably see a whole lot? This Bugatti circuit here at Le Mans, it's not something that's used a whole lot, especially if you go to a hopper, but I guess a GT hopper. I don't know about the other hoppers, but specifically in league racing, you don't see it a whole lot. What were some of those challenges with the weather conditions today?
I mean, the main challenge is just to not be too late on the brakes, otherwise, well, you'll just go off the track. Um, but the main challenge was just get the car right for the thing, and that's about it, really.
Well, obviously, not a whole lot of action through the majority of the race for yourself, but a good result, fifth overall today for you. You've kind of gotten better throughout the series since the beginning. What are some of the things that have been kind of benefiting you as we get near the end of the series? Where has strength started to come in as your progression in the series?
Well, I think it's the tune on the car. I mean, for this race, I had a tune made by ESV Griffin. Yeah, good tune. Yeah, very, very good tune. Yeah,
Well,
that's all I have to say.
well, nonetheless, congratulations on the top five result. We know you fight every week, you give it your all, so a great day, a great result for you. So congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, see you next week.
Diamond 2014, ladies and gentlemen, fifth overall. And then it's ESV Bobberts. And Bobberts, what a fight today. I mean, you were in pretty much the heat of the battle all race long. You had Sean, you had Design. You three literally were nose to tail for quite a bit of it. It started with you and Sean, and then as you guys battled, Design slowly got into the picture. But give us your thoughts on the battle and how tough that was for you. And did you kind of have an idea that later in the race you didn't need to battle with them as much because of the situation with fuel, or give us your thoughts?
Well, I got the start that I wanted. The intention or the hope was to get ahead of both Design and Sean. I knew obviously Design being the Viper would have been it was an easier task, but Sean would have been a bit more difficult because the C7 gets just as good a start as the Bentley, near enough. So yeah, got that job done. Managed to hold him off for as many laps. I wasn't driving particularly well, if I'm honest, but yeah, then I made two mistakes, which cost me the two places to them both, and then I wasn't paying attention to my fuel. It didn't rain as much as I thought, and as a result, the last 4 or 5 laps, I was in major fuel saving mode, and I ran out of the fuel as I came out the last corner, and unlike Vanquish, made it to the to the start finish line.
Yeah, you talk about the fuel mileage, and we we weren't sure if these cars were going to make it to the end, and the assumption was they were going to be good to go all race long. The question was going to be more on the tire wear side of it, and the tire wear did start to show later in the race. But at what point did you realize, oh, I'm in trouble? I need to kind of start seeing, slowing these laps down a little bit and to try to conserve fuel to get to the end.
It was about 6 or 7 laps from the end, and I think it was 7 laps from the end, and then I worked out what I did for 1 lap's worth, and I thought, right, I'm in big trouble here. So at that point, that's when I did a lot of lifting coast, and like I said, was running the best part of 2 seconds a lap slower. So I was just trying to, basically make it to the finish. I tried to defend from Tommy on that last lap, but it was just inevitable, really. So it is what it is. I mean, I feel more sorry for Barcode. He had that race won, so I feel really bad for him, and that instead of him being first, he's 20th. But these things happen.
Yeah, you talked about your teammate. He did confirm with us that his game had crashed actually during that race, and he said it was the first time in 6 months that had happened to him. But Bobbert, you've kind of had an up and down series yourself. I would say round one and last week specifically, those 2 rounds, particularly stick out to me. Not the greatest of starts. You were able to kind of, recover throughout the race, but not when you would personally like to have been able to recover. You probably would have been up front. Obviously you had the start you'd like, but tonight you said you had the start of the race. What kind of difference is that for confidence do you feel plays a factor for you? Third overall in the championship points as well. Now your teammate knocked out. You're still a little bit behind Sean, but all these things kind of come together. Where does the confidence come from, if there has been a confidence boost for you?
I don't think there really has been. Like, if anything, it's probably gone more the other way. Um, but again, like I said, it's just because I'm just not driving particularly well. Don't know what the reasons are. I think can't really say right why it is. So let's just hope that at least for next week that we have better performance and have a better result than where I am. I mean, fourth place isn't exactly bad. It's just it should or can be better. So, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But congrats to the top three at least anyway, and well done on Design, who had his issue on the first lap, and I know he got a little luck with Barcode's lag out, but he deserved it based off his pace.
And you talked about the next 2 weeks. You go to one of your favorite tracks, Watkins Glen. You've been very successful there in just about any series you've been in. What do you look forward going into next week?
Going for win.
All right. That's good enough for me. Well, congratulations on a top 5 result today. Great start to your race, and to be able to finish without having to really fight for it, come back up from way behind, that's got to feel good. So congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
ESP Bobberts, ladies and gentlemen, 4th overall, and then the guy that started this race up front after making a nice pass on Barcode, but then as the rain came down, Vanquish, decision-making happened. What had happened originally to you losing the lead and then ultimately your decision to pit?
I missed the left-right 3 times, and he finally got around me on the third one. Yeah, I just couldn't be asked trying to save fuel or whatever you had to do because it's boring. So I just pitted and figured I can get top 3 by pitting because we had like a 10 to 12 second gap on third, and that was only halfway through the race. So figured I could get third, fourth,
Did the
whatever.
rain conditions play that big of a role? Because it seemed like you had control of that throughout the entire dry portion of the race, and then literally when the rain came down, it seemed that was when you had made that mistake.
Barcode was fuel saving, so I mean, it was a lot. He was allowing me to be up front. I wasn't up front. It wasn't like I earned it. He allowed me to be up front, set the pace because he knew he was faster than me, so he was just fuel saving behind me. So that's all it was.
And then, you talked about, making the pit stop. And then as the race progressed, you were able to get around ACR sideways. Eventually, at the end, your battle there with Bobberts. Bobberts trying to defend, but, a little bit more of a different situation for both of you. Did you feel very confident to get that spot there with that last section of track?
Oh yeah, I mean he was losing seconds in the last, like the first section he was pretty solid, but I think it was either fuel tire or something. I don't know. He was losing out like a second, 2 seconds in the last section, so I was pretty confident I was going to pass him.
Well, obviously a good result, 3rd overall, and I got to ask, 2 races ago you have Watkins Glen, you have the Indy GP Classic as well. How do you feel that those 2 tracks? And we know that the Bentley's going to be on the table, and you're going to probably drive that thing till the end anyways. But how do you feel going into those next 2 rounds? We know that you're kind of out of the championship run, but a lot still can happen. And those 2 tracks particularly, do either one of those stick out for you?
I have no idea because I don't know what the Bentley can do there, what I'm even racing against. But I mean, I assume everybody's going to be playing around a little bit more. I think Sean's pretty far ahead in the points, so he'll probably play around in cars. But yeah, it'd be fun.
Well, congratulations on a good drive back after a pit stop to finish 3rd overall, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Vanquish FRC, 3rd overall, and then we move up to the points leader, and I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. It's not the way you'd like to see it, but Barcode has gotten that disconnect tonight, which is such a rarity for him, Sean. You battled all race long with Bobberts and then Design, and to get a top 2 finish, another top 2 for you, and you haven't finished lower than 2nd all season long. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, you said it. I think I got quite lucky today, and certainly in the championship. But yeah, I think yeah, I think I was lucky to get on the podium. But I did what I had to, and things just played out the way they did.
Now, you had that battle with Bobberts for the longest time. He was really able to keep you behind him through a lot of that dry portion of the race, and then as soon as the rain came out, I mean, you guys brought Design into the fight in that first quarter of the race. He was just at the right place once that rain came down, but you were able to get by Bobberts. He made a he made a mistake there, and then it took you a while to get away from them. I mean, what seemed to be the issue from the transition from dry to wet?
Yeah, so once I'd gotten quite lucky that I had better brakes, and I think that helped me get past Bubbers. But after that, I started to look at my fuel and try and figure out if I was actually going to be able to make the end. And as it turns out, I'm not very good at sort of calculating that and picking my braking. So I just had to end up giving up on seeing if I could make it and just hope. Because I was I found myself off the track quite a few times.
Now, you get near the end of the race. There's a handful of laps to go. I think it was about 3 laps to go when Design finally got by you on the outside off the final corner. What was your decision making? How did you know? Like, did you know at that point in the race you were good to the end? And what was the difference factor between you and Design in that battle?
Yeah, I knew I just needed to get it home. Design had been on me for like the past 7 laps or something. I don't know what the tire difference was, but it must have been pretty major. Because he was a lot faster through the corners and better on the brakes, just pretty much everywhere. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold that, but I knew I could make it to the end, and it was just trying to sort of minimize the time loss and try and secure the position.
So once you got to the outside, you said, you know what, if I can get there to turn 1 first, I will. But if he gets by me, it is what it is, pretty much.
Yeah, I pretty much settled for second.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, a teammate you'd probably rather lose to than other competitors, especially ones in the championship fight as well. But another good drive by you, Sean. 2 weeks to go. Vanquish talked about you got a nice little points lead going into these final 2 races. What's that mentality now? We talked about it a couple weeks ago. You said, I just got to make sure I'm picking the some of the best cars, making sure I got the pace and all that stuff. Now you got kind of a little bit of a cushion. Will you be joking around with some cars a little bit, or will we expect seriousness till the end and just close that deal?
Potentially, I'd like to keep staying on the podium, and I'll have to have a look at what the points lead is, because I don't want to throw it away by being silly. But yeah, I think I can be a bit more laid back and maybe pick a car that I like or something like that.
Well, obviously, Sean, still work to be done. It's not over yet, but congratulations on another top 2 finish this season.
Thank you.
RZM Sean, ladies and gentlemen, 2nd overall, and then the man of the hour. And from what I was told in the chat, RZM Design can be heard, so we're going to do it here. And Design, big win today for you. We know that the first round was really detrimental to you. You were mentally out of it. I talked to you for probably a couple of weeks on it. You kept referring back to it. You're like, if it just didn't happen. And you found the confidence, and you're starting to put some good times in these last 2 rounds. Last week having a really good result at Yas Marina, and tonight it seemed that maybe 2nd and 3rd was it, but once Barco was out, you had the pressure on Sean. Take us through those moments and how you're just able to get the job done.
First, I think I just got to thank my teammates on this one. Takashi put in a lot of work on the Viper this week, and found out that it could have made the distance even if it was cloudy the whole race. And I had to work most of this week, so him putting that time in for me really set up the car choice. And I thought the race was over to start off, man. I had a terrible start, and I think Remix was going through some lag issues at the beginning, and I kind of got spun around at the start, and it just the luck was, I guess, on my side today. And sucks that Barcode's game crashed, because I think he had the win pretty much wrapped up this week, but it played out in my favor, so I'll definitely take it. And thanks to Sean as well, because he could have easily fought for that and made it difficult, but I think he said his decision on that was to let it go and make it work out better for both of us. So I got to thank those guys.
Design, you just talked about a tough start to your race tonight, and we didn't get to see that. We do know that Remix was having lag issues prior to race, and then obviously we were actually sitting on him when he eventually dropped out, and we know he did. You could tell that he was having issues on track, but to recover from that situation, to get up into the fight with Bobberts and Sean, you had some, fortune with the barcode situation, Vanquish pitting just to make sure that he can make it to the end, and a lot of questions that were still up in the air throughout that race with no idea what the conditions were going to be. This has to feel really good given the start of your season, and just, I talked to you today. You weren't in the best moods, but this has to make you feel a lot better with the way the season's gone.
Today sucked, man. But the ending to today is a lot better. A nice 1-2 for me and my teammate, and I'm just more happy with the car. I think the car was the right choice. Knowing that it could go the full race, and knowing that it had full pace throughout the whole race, I think was the biggest key factor that played in it for me. I was able to just kind of stay on the gas wherever I wanted to the whole race, and it worked out, man. The day turned around for sure.
Well, you talk about the car selection, and you were one of the few that I believe it was you and Stokey Joe that decided to take the Viper. We saw M8 out there, we saw Nismo, we saw the Ford GT, but the majority of the field took the C7R and the Bentley. Your car, we talked about it. We felt the few that didn't select those cars were setting up for the rain, setting up for the long haul, hoping that the rain would play a major factor in possibly your fight to get to the front and battle for possibly a win or a top 5. But, you got to the end of that race, the battle, Sean. What was going through your mind? Were you going to put that pressure on him? What was your game plan? You knew you had the better car. How aggressive would you have gotten there with 2 to go if you couldn't get by him?
For some moments in that final fight, I kind of, I didn't know if I should be aggressive on my teammate, knowing that he's in the lead of the championship, but at the same time, having the win kind of, I don't know this for sure, but I think I might be either second or third in the points now after today. So having the win is still huge, and I couldn't tell exactly if he was fuel saving, but he said that his tires were starting to give there towards the end. So I think that just kind of played the biggest role in me staying behind him and eventually getting around on the front straight.
Yeah, I can confirm that his tires were starting to get up there. So definitely probably was a concern for him, as a few others as well. But, a win's a win. You get them as you can take them design. Nobody wants to just give a win away. So good to see a hard fighting for that, even with a teammate. Obviously, Sean tried to do everything he could to hold you off, but such a big win for you. I believe this is your second win in MEA. Trying to continue to get those wins, obviously, is tough. It's a tough league. So congratulations to you. We look forward to seeing these next 2 rounds. Maybe you'll end up into a fight for a championship, title at the end of the season. But again, we've had some really interesting things happen today. But good congratulations on getting that win today. Obviously, it was well deserved and well earned.
I appreciate that. I'm not looking forward to next week though. Watkins Full is one of my worst tracks, so I'm gonna have to put in some overtime and see what I can do next week to stay in.
Tuner in.
Anyways, thank you, man. It's been fun today, and it definitely turned around my day for sure. Well,
congratulations, and that is RZM Design, ladies and gentlemen. First win on the series, the second time here at MEA. Big jump back from a tough start to the season, so good to see him get that dub here today at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit. Well, we had ourselves one heck of a race. It started off with Vanquish and Barcode really duking it out early on. Vanquish able to kind of get the race lead, though he had told us that Barcode was trying to save, so we thought more of it, but still good start to the day for them. RZM, Sean, Bobberts, Design duking it out. Barcode with an unfortunate disconnect. We saw a couple of disconnects at the end there as well, and then Design with a late pass for the lead with only a few laps to go to get his first win on the season. It wasn't the most exciting race today, I would say the least, but it definitely had its moments and definitely a great ending to the race. So big job to the drivers on track. We have 2 races to go, ladies and gentlemen. Watkins Glen next week, and then the championship round at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the GP Classic circuit. So tune in with us next week, and we look forward to another great race here at MEA. I'm SSR Mayhem. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and wish you all a great night.